Hi, I'm Wasim Maklashi reporting for AJ+. I recently got to spend some time in Cannonball, North Dakota, site of the now popular struggle against the Dakota Access Pipeline. If you're not familiar, the Dakota Access Pipeline, or DAPL, is a project set to carry shale oil, the product of fracking, from the Bakken oil fields of North Dakota through 4 states to a processing plant in Illinois. It was originally routed to cross under the Missouri River about 40 miles upstream near Bismarck, the capital of North Dakota, but, and this is important to note, residents feared it would pose a threat to their water supply, so it got rerouted here less than a half-mile upstream from the Standing Rock Sioux Reservation on hotly contested territory that contains sacred burial sites and grounds for the tribe. This section of the Missouri River is also the main source of water for the Standing Rock Sioux Reservation, as well as 17 million Americans downstream.
Living along the Missouri River, it's always been special to the people, and we know that our drinking water comes from the Missouri River. It not only gives water to the communities and the tribes along the river, but there's also the Mini-Wechoni water pipeline that feeds directly off of the Missouri River and gives water to everybody along in South Dakota as well. There's ranchers, farmers that depend on the Mini-Wechoni water pipeline.
And you know, a lot of people think that it's only about water, but they're not looking at all the things that depend on that, like these medicines, like these foods. I have actually, right up here, I have collected sacred foods and medicines for my family because those are the things that sustain them as Lakota people. And I've collected plants right here in this area, food and medicine, and those foods and medicines were bulldozed over. Hundreds of different species, thousands of specimens, absolutely, in the past few weeks. Just thousands of those specimens completely bulldozed over.
The Standing Rock Sioux Reservation lies along the Native American Scenic Byway, a 350-mile route that passes through the lands where Lakota chief and spiritual leader Sitting Bull lived and died, and is a route that Lewis and Clark passed through more than a dozen times. It also crosses through the lands of 4 Lakota Indian tribes: Crow Creek, Lower Brule, Cheyenne River, and Standing Rock. My ultimate destination was the Oceti-Chakawayan camp at Standing Rock, the front line of the struggle against the Dakota Access Pipeline. This is land that belongs to the Sioux under a treaty from 1851, but contentious eminent domain claims have stripped them of several parts of it, including where the pipeline is being constructed. When I first arrived, the nerves quickly settled as everyone was immediately welcoming and accommodating. I heard drum circles, prayers, laughter. The sense of community was overwhelming. You'll see all these flags everywhere, and lining both sides of the road, and every single one of these flags represents an organization or one of the tribes, one of the over 200 tribes from around North America, including as far as Alaska, who came here with their canoes. So each one of these flags, they came and they planted a flag to show their support and solidarity. But it got serious really quick. My first interview was with a group of medics that had just been released from prison. These medics were among those arrested while attending to water protectors that were injured by police in Dakota Access Security the night of October 27th.
She was struck in the knee and the hip and has abrasions and bruises that we documented earlier today. I was struck in the head multiple times with a closed fist and a baton.
I was kicked in the groin after I was already on my stomach and handcuffed.
I talked to 3 different guys who had seen what was happening in the moment when I was being yanked out of that vehicle, and they were so upset they came rushing forward trying to help me, and they were beaten with batons.
They put numbers on all of them arrested.
I heard you talking about that. Can you show?
Put them in dog kennels.
They put us in 8x12 chain link fence cages. I know personally I had 16 other grown men in my chain link cage with me.
So here are some of the pellets from some of the sting ball grenades. These are hardened rubber pellets that are explosive charge are used to disperse those, and they're coated in CS gas. These have been washed, and those are in some of the concussive rounds that were going off. So there's the flash, the bang, and these thrown out to sting people and encourage them to mosey along.
This set the stage for many of the stories I'd hear over the next several days. As I walked around camp, I saw nothing but prayer, communal meals, people helping each other to set up permanent structures and make preparations for the cold winter months that were quickly approaching. It felt very safe, very comforting. And seeing the flags staked along the main road through camp that represented over 200 tribes, some that haven't communicated in over a century, was actually quite humbling and encouraging. The following day, however, I got a small taste of the tension. I was just wrapping up an interview with Linda Blackelk, the liaison between the herbalists and the campers, and Dr. Sarah Jumping Eagle, a physician on the Standing Rock Sioux Reservation, outside of their dare when a truck came by, saw my media badge, and instructed me to head towards the ridge. Something was happening. We looked up towards it, and there was a line of police officers and dapple security, all outfitted in full riot gear with rifles pointed in the camp's direction. We noticed a group of water protectors begin to make their way up the ridge towards the authorities. They were face to face. Things were tense. Behind them was a visible piece of the pipeline being moved while tractors prepared its path on the other side. As I was standing there shooting some footage, a pickup full of water protectors came by and asked me to hop in the back. So without thinking, I jumped into the bed of the truck and headed towards the action. I set up my rig and tried to figure out what was going on. Horses with whooping indigenous Native Americans came flying by me, drum lines came passing by, and prayer began on the riverbank below the officers on the ridge. We'd find out later that the tribe saw construction equipment begin to make its way towards that ridge, Turtle Island, a sacred burial site, and they were trying to get to it to pray for their ancestors. The following day, mere hours after I left camp, I'd learned that a group of elders, Native American tribal members, and water protectors had crossed the river to Turtle Island to pray upon their ancestors when the bridge was destroyed, leaving dozens of water protectors in that very same river, waist deep, as they were attacked with mace. A journalist, Aaron Schroed, who was there with Gasland's Josh Fox, was shot in the back with a rubber bullet. The authorities have tried to deny it, but she caught it all on tape. This is a story that is just beginning, as it is bringing to a head everything that the Native American tribes of North America have been dealing with for centuries. Only now, thanks to new avenues of social media and information outlets, it's actually hitting a mainstream vein. As a matter of fact, the night that I was finishing an edit on this video, November 20th, 2016, Morton County Sheriff's Department, along with Dapple Security, attacked the water protectors again. This time they used mace, sound cannons, rubber bullets, concussive grenades, and a water cannon directly on the people. It was 23 degrees. They tried denying that they were spraying directly on people until they caught word that it was being live streamed. That's when they stopped with the water cannon. Where things go from here are currently anyone's guess.
My grandpa Sitting Bull said, let's put our hearts and our minds together to see what life we can make for our children. So that's one of the things that is important, that always inspires me. We all need to realize that if we don't stop now, our children are going to suffer. If we don't start changing now, our children are going to suffer down the road. Our grandchildren's grandchildren, they're going to pay the price. So it's how we thought, how my people think, is they thought 7 generations ahead. And so we're the 7th generation. So now it's our turn to think another 7 generations ahead until we get to that, and then it's their turn. So I think this is a cleansing and an awakening that, okay, now it's time for us to shoot that way of thinking and living 7 generations ahead of us again.
While Energy Transfer Solutions, the company behind the Dakota Access Pipeline, waits for a permit from the Army Corps of Engineers to drill under the Missouri River, the story has taken several interesting twists and turns. For more information on the ever-evolving events at Standing Rock, tune into AJ+. We have coverage on the ground and reports coming from all angles, all hours of the day.